Intolerance based on race, gender and identity, and the extreme political views that intolerance inspires is on the rise across the Western world in particular. Right-wing extremism has been in ASIO sights for some time, but obviously the threat came into sharp, terrible focus last year in New Zealand. In Australia, the right-wing extremist threat is real and it is growing. In suburbs around Australia, small cells meet regularly, salute Nazi flags, inspect weapons, train in combat and share their hateful ideology. And sadly, these groups are more organised and security conscious than they were in previous years. We continue to see Australian extremists seeking to connect with like-minded individuals in other parts of the world, sometimes in person. They're not merely seeking to share their ideology and tactics.
The spy games continue. I must say, when I first joined up with the Australian Security Intelligence Organisation, I couldn't even begin to imagine the wild turns my career took. Such as last year, when my team helped the Allied forces uncover the devious schemings of the Love Australia or Leave party, led by that vicious woman named Kim Volga. Just recently, I met up with an old friend of mine who had also been recruited into our team. During the time of the Great Panic, Anders Lexell was tasked with flying the D-17 combat dirigibles that made up the core of the IUN Civil Air Patrol. Built in Woomera, these things were intended to watch over bushfires or provide surveillance. They were useful in monitoring monsters that may have patrolled the area. For example, if the Bunyip woke up again, then an alien invasion would be the second worst thing to happen. Indeed, there were several monsters in the Australian mainland, such as the Yowie, the Geedarak Orochi dormant in Mount Kosciuszko, the Varanus monster of Lake Paluma, and probably others we haven't seen yet.
It stretched to the horizon. Sedans, trucks, buses, RVs, anything that could drive. I saw tractors. I saw a cement mixer. Seriously, I even saw a flatbed with nothing but a giant sign on it. A billboard advertising a gentleman's club. People were sitting on top of it. People were riding on top of everything on roofs in between luggage racks. It reminded me of some old picture of trains in India with people hanging on them like monkeys. All kinds of crap lined the road. Suitcases, boxes, even pieces of expensive furniture. I saw a grand piano, I'm not kidding. Just smashed like it was thrown off the top of a truck. There were also a lot of abandoned cars. Some have been pushed over. Some were stripped. Some looked burned out. I saw a lot of people on foot across the plains or alongside the road. Some were knocking on windows, holding up all kinds of stuff. A few women were exposing themselves. They must have been looking to trade, probably petrol. They couldn't have been looking for rides. They were moving faster than cars. It wouldn't make sense, but one thing that haunts me most is they weren't headed anywhere. This was the Bruce Highway between Townsville and Rockhampton. Both regions were heavily infested, as well as those little towns in between. What did they think they were doing? Who organised this exodus? Did anyone? Did people see a line of cars and join them without asking? I tried to imagine what it must have been like. Stuck bumper to bumper. Crying kids. A barking dog. Knowing what was coming was just a few miles back and hoping, praying that someone up ahead knows where he's going. I'd had half the mind to join the refugees, but there are even worse alien threats out at sea. Last I heard, there was a giant octopus that had been attacking and sinking fishery vessels and transportation ships 2 to 3 times per month, to say nothing of alien submarines.
Sounds like a story for the books, my friend. But don't worry, we are closer to the truth now. We're pressing on.
I was then transferred to Newcastle, where I served alongside the renowned Clacker. He would come face to face with the neo-Nazi collaborators, and, as usual, he's pulling no punches in the pants department.
I'm onto you, laddie. I know what's going on inside that twisted mind of yours. I'm not saying anything. You don't have to say anything. I can see it in your face. Nice try, Clacker, but you'll get nothing out of me. I want to speak to my lawyer. Sorry, can't help you there, lad, but I can introduce you to a friend of mine. No, Clacker, please! Either you start talking or my partner here does. I've got nothing to say. Okay, have it your way. You bastard, Clacker! You're a dead man! I'm afraid my friend here is becoming quite talkative. In fact, I have a feeling the conversation is about to become quite animated. Alright, put it away. I'll tell you what you want to know.
When he caught you with your pants around your ankles, pray his remain in the upright position.
I have met several alien overlords like you, and it's always about power, isn't it? Am I right? Be gone, Clacker. You'd better start talking, or things could get a little ugly. Maybe you'd like a little thinking music. Oh, curses, Clacker. My friend here takes requests. How about this for a golden oldie?
You could cut the air with a knife when Clacker cuts the cheese.
I'm offering you a chance, lad. If you had a brain in that head of yours, you'd see what's good for you. You'll get nothing out of me, Clacker. Do you know what this is, son? It's a finger. That's right. I was wondering if you'd mind pulling it for me. No, please, Clacker, not that. Pull my finger, laddie. Anything but that. Pull it. Oh, God. It was Tony. He arranged the whole thing. Who was driving the T-62 tank? I don't know. Pull it. You're a heartless bastard, Clacker. Pull it. Oh, Jimmy, it was Jimmy. Where's the body? I never saw it. Pull. I'll take you there.
And when he was on the case, it wasn't necessarily the suspect who's talking through his arse.
You see these wires, son, attached to your arm? Yes. Normally at this end they're attached to a lie detector machine. So, well, this time they're attached to the cheeks of my ass, so choose your answers wisely.
Now, where is the chemical weapon?
I don't know.
Have you ever met the colonel in this photo?
No.
Did you know the alien field marshal?
No. Alright, I met him once. Twice. Okay, I knew him, but I never saw him on the night of the meeting. No, you're telling whoppers, lad.
I joined Clacker's team during a big bust of theirs. Operation Three Little Piggies.
Come out now with your hands up. No way. Well, if you won't reason with me, maybe you'll listen to the big bad wolf. He'll huff, and he'll puff, and he'll blow your house down. The other team, in charge of uncovering the collaborators' chain of command, was at Melbourne's Russell Street Police headquarters, with Bluey Bargearse Hills heading his own squad, Casual Squad, due to his inability to work within the existing police squads. Casual Squad was given cases that the other departments could not readily solve by conventional means, with Bargearse supplying his unconventional methods to bring about their resolution. Nice work. We found the ringleaders, Schroeder. True believers, Nazis, conscripts, lots of alien supervisors. Leaders are the chap society, the extra racist stuff with the real hardcore guys on top. Watch out for the aliens. Alright. Okay? I won't even mess with them. Hey Sarge, get a load of me new tie. Alright, but only a quick peek. I don't want to bring up me lunch. For everybody's sake. Got it off Agent Lexell, eh? Even he refused to wear it anymore. Don't blame him. Stupid dingbat must be colorblind. Who's he scaring off with a tie like that? His team took on a lot of stuff. Mafias, terrorists, cults. Really, eh? Clap your peepers on that.
Patrol 1 to Casual Squad. We have the suspect. We're in hot pursuit. Requesting backup.
Better hurry, Sarge. He's probably on his way to his overlords. Out of the way, extras! Run for it, bro! It's Barge! Stop, Crook! You're fighting for a lost cause, and you know it! I said stop!
Not today, Bargearse.
I'll be forced to call in an airstrike on you! Nice try, but the bullet was absorbed by my spare tire. You're almost mine now, Crook. Just one more pissy stunt. You would call this confusing choreography, but I'm one step ahead of you, like that guy Steve Dickinson. But aha, you fall for the oldest trick in the book, the out-of-focus fence. It's the end of the line for you, chap. You've got away with a lot of stuff in your time. Tax evasion, hate crime, trying to take over Townsville, but nobody gets away with Bargearse's pizza. Bargearse, make it quick, crime dome, it's me lunch hour. Exactly, that's why I'm here. What, you brought me some food? Donuts? You wish. You may remember when you were tracing some miscreants in a mysterious black van. Oh yeah, that's right. It bloody escalated fast. I was keeping my distance, not drawing attention to myself, when suddenly, out of the sky, they threw donuts! Delicious king-sized extras. I'm being showered at them. It's pure heaven, and then BANG! Crashed into what I assumed was a 20-foot polywaffle. We've gathered more intel, Sergeant. It's about the terrorist leadership. Apparently the One Nation leader is commanding the nationalists in the hopes of becoming a dictator. And for what? She'd be better off commanding a plastic surgeon to do her some good. Not wrong. They'd better not be carrying out those atrocities. They're probably planning to come down here to do it. If only we knew where they were. Look, whether you like it or not, we're going to stop it before it starts. In fact, I'd hate to be the one to tell you this, but in the next op, you'll be stinging the alien force. Alright, you've told us where those secret alien weapons are being stashed, but you haven't told me why you're clutching your nuts. Because my master threatened something if they were caught. 20? I reckon this is where that alien bastard calls his cohorts. Sure, Sarge. Their weapon must be a rubbish bin falling from the sky. You were right, Sarge! This is definitely it. Looks like there's about enough guns here to last us well into a few years of war. Where are these so-called collaborators, Sarge? Dunno. What's that? The noise? Sounds very alien to me. What do you think it is, Sarge? Unless I'm mistaken, that's a probability the ceiling is opening up. Don't make a sound. Right, that'll flush him out. 4! Did you say we're picking up chemical weapons or becoming test subjects for them? Go check if that's a leakage, will ya? Okay, mate. Hurry up, I'm suffocating! What? They're perfectly fine. Surprise! Oh, Bargearse! Your reign of terror will come to an end. Oh! You'll never stop our overlords, Bargearse! Yeah? Can I stop you? Nah. And now? Oh, better, but you can't stop all of us. We will, just like this! Ha! Pathetic! We'll kill you all! You'll all be exposed, just like your bald spot! Ha! You mongrel! No one does that and gets away with it! Ah! Who's your supreme leader now, smartass? Well, another step closer.
So, did those guys fly the coop to alien land, or did ASIO finally catch up to them? Wherever they are, good thing they're not here. If they're in an offshore retreat, someday. A lot of unfinished business on that campaign. Hell, the bodies of the POWs who died in captivity in their chambers haven't even been returned, as per the ceasefire agreement.
Yeah, we got the live POWs back, but the bodies are something the aliens still won't give up. Though why is a good question. Rather ghoulish if you ask me. As for Lothsome, Gabbera, and Dickheadson, they vanished. They're not in the Pacific, they're not in space, and we or anyone else didn't catch up with them. Near as ASIO and Army Historical could figure out, they got one of the last AN-74s out of Townsville bound for the Gulf. The last anyone heard from them was Alien Forward Air Control at Townsville wishing them luck. Their faith is misplaced. As for the People's Government in Exile, Prime Minister Two Sharp Eyes did offer, but when none of these folks showed up, As for the People's Government in Exile, Prime Minister Two Sharp Eyes did offer, but when none of these blokes showed up, they grabbed some nobodies who were auxiliary officers, who had been brought out of Townsville or Indonesia before the end, and set them up with a radio program. It's still on today. I call it my comedy hour.
If anyone remembers shooting down an AN-74T Cola along the Townsville-Dilley flight path the day before the surrender, there's a lot of blokes who'd like to know, and I still talk to some of them. If it helps, I saw one go down near the coast. Bombers over Victoria. I think they did the shuttle from abroad via Tasmania or occupied Antarctica and then over the continent. Never saw any myself, but we knew they were around. And they did show up on the Blackbird 2 imagery. There's a nicely restored one getting ready for the Air Force Museum at Point Cook, and the RAF has another at their museum in Williamtown. Anyone find an F-18 guy or girl who flew those Coral Sea sweeps? Finding out if anyone killed that AN-74 taking the Quislings to Dilley would be great. At least they didn't get a chance to form a People's Government in Exile. If they weren't splashed, they didn't arrive in Dilley. Solomons, anyone? Didn't one of their leaders offer Pauline Gabbera, Mark Lothsome, and Steve Dickinson, and the others such a setup?
Further information on that AN-74, the East Timorese reported it missing the day of the Queensland ceasefire, and none of the passengers or flight crew showed up anywhere. The sighting in Vanuatu turned out to be someone who'd imbibed in too much wacky tobacco. The other reason that blokes are interested in that AN-74 is that, as I understand it, there are a lot of sensitive documents having to do with the formation for their Quisling state. Things like who they could appoint to what. Some of those guys might still be in politics now.
As for the People's Government in Exile, Prime Minister Two Sharp Eyes did offer, but when none of those blokes showed up, they grabbed some nobodies who were auxiliary officers who had been brought out of Townsville or Indonesia before the end, and set them up with a radio program. It's still on today. I call it my comedy hour. Maybe one of those aces got the Quisling bastards after all. Let's all hope. I'd rather see them hanging from the gallows, but becoming shark bait is fine too. My squadron hit the enemy airbase at Townsville at least 3 times, and I know there was a mountain of fighters based in North Queensland at that point, not to mention 3 alien command frigates in the Gulf. I'm surprised anything got out of Townsville at all, knowing how many times we bombed the place. I know I got quite a light show on one of those runs when I got a Mark 82 to land on an IL-78 refueling plane, which happened to be fully loaded and fueling 2 MiG-29s at that point. That was one big fireball, boy. Anyway, after this I'm going to talk to some of my resistance friends, see how they're going. Like the Riders of the Apocalypse, or the Prairie Resistance. One thing at a time. Good night.